The communal award. So in this topic we will study about the communal award, then Gandhiji's reaction to this communal award, then we will study about what was this Pune Pact, then Government of India Act of 1935, and then a Congress rule in provinces, and then Haripura session. So let's start with this communal award. What was this communal award? So the communal award was announced by the British Prime Minister Ramsay MacDonald in August 1932, and this was yet another expression of British policy of divide and rule. The Muslims, the Sikhs and Christians had already been recognized as minorities. The communal award declared the depressed classes also to be minority and entitled them to separate electorates. Okay, so now the depressed classes, that is the scheduled caste, and now we call them scheduled caste and scheduled tribes, but this that time they were called as depressed classes. So this depressed class, according to the communal award, the depressed, it was not an award or a prize as such. Okay, so it was a facility actually which was given. So according to this communal award, depressed classes were given separate electorates, and Muslims, Sikhs and Christians also had the separate electorates. So Gandhiji, what was the Gandhiji's reaction to this communal award? So the effort to separate the depressed classes from the rest of Hindus by treating them as separate political entity was vehemently opposed by all the nationalists. So by giving the separate electorate, by giving this communal award, the effort was to separate the depressed classes from the rest of Hindus by treating them as separate political entities, and this was vehemently opposed by all the nationalists. This was actually a strategy to divide and rule. So Gandhiji saw the communal award as an attack on Indian unity and nationalism, because by giving the communal award, by giving the separate electorates to depressed classes, and depressed classes were actually the part of Hindu religion, so the nationalist leader were thinking that by giving communal award, that is by giving the separate electorate to depressed classes, it is a strategy to divide the Hindus and then divide them and then rule. So this was an attack on Indian unity and nationalism. So once the depressed classes were treated as a separate political entity, Gandhiji argued the question to abolishing untouchability would get undermined. Gandhiji wanted to abolish the untouchability, and he said that, so Gandhiji wanted to abolish the untouchability, and by declaring the depressed classes as a separate political entity, the question to abolish the untouchability will be undermined. So that's why Gandhiji also opposed this communal award. Okay. So he said that separate electorates would ensure that the untouchables remained untouchable in perpetuity, because once you give them separate electorates, that means they will be different political entity, and once they are different political entity, that means they will be untouchables for their whole life, and for this their condition would not be their condition will not change. So that's why he opposed it. So Gandhi demanded that the depressed classes be elected through joint and, if possible, a wider electorate through universal franchise, and while expressing no objection to the demand for a larger number of reserved seats. So Gandhiji, instead of Gandhiji was ready to give extra reserved seats to depressed classes, and he said that the leaders of depressed classes should be elected through the joint electorates instead of separate electorates, and this was a alternative to the communal award. And to press for his demands, he went on fast unto death in the Yerwada jail. Okay, so he went on fast unto death into the Yerwada jail. So finally an agreement was reached between Dr. Ambedkar and Gandhiji, known as the Pune Pact. Okay, so when Gandhiji was fasting unto death into the Yerwada jail, then B.R. Ambedkar decided to make a compromise, and then accordingly seats reserved for the depressed classes were increased from 71 to 147 in provincial legislatures, and 18% of the total in the central legislature. Okay, so accordingly what happened, the seats reserved for the depressed classes were increased from 71. Now the depressed classes got 147 seats in provinces instead of 71, and okay, and 18% of the total in the central legislature. So this was the Pune Pact, according to which the seats of the depressed classes into the joint electorates was increased, and in every province out of the educational grant an adequate sum shall be earmarked for providing educational facilities to the members of depressed classes. So firstly, the seats were increased for depressed classes from 71 to 147, and the second one was in every province out of the educational grant an adequate sum shall be earmarked for providing educational facilities to the members of depressed classes, that is for their education. So this was actually a step which was taken for the educational reform of depressed classes. So the Pune Pact was accepted by the government as an amendment to the communal award. So there was a pact between Gandhiji and Baba Saheb Ambedkar at Pune, and this pact was called as Pune Pact, in which the seats were increased from 71 to 147, and a good amount of funds were reserved for the educational development of the depressed classes in the provinces. So remember this Pune Act, it is very important. Okay, so what was the Government of India Act of 1935? So the Government of India Act of 1935 was passed on basis on the report of the Simon Commission. So we know that the Simon Commission had come to India and it submitted its report. So on this basis of the Government of India Act was passed, and then the outcome of Round Table Conference was also taken into consideration while framing this Government of India Act of 1935, and then the white paper issued by the British government in 1933. So the Government of India Act of 1935 was based on this Simon Commission report, then the outcome of the 3 roundtable conferences, and the white paper which was issued by the British government in 1933. So what were the features of this Government of India Act? So provision for the establishment of an All India Federation at the center, consisting of the provinces of British India and the princely states. That is, now All India Federation at the center will be established, and it will consist of provinces of British India and princely states. That is, a common center will be established. Then it did not come into existence since the princely states refused to give their consent for the union. So in the Government of India Act of 1935, it was decided that All India Federation at the center will be established, which will be consisted of British provinces and British India provinces and princely states, but it could not be established because the princely states refused to join the union. So division of powers into 3 lists, that is a federal, provincial and concurrent. Now According to the Government of India Act, the powers were divided into three lists, and the list was federal list, the provincial list, and the concurrent list. The federal list, on which only the federal government can make the law, the provincial list, on which the provinces could make the law, and the concurrent list, on which both the federal as well as the provincial government could make the laws. And the diarchy at the center was introduced, that is, two houses were introduced in the center. So the Governor General and his councillors administered the reserved subjects, and the Council of Ministers were responsible for the transferred subjects. So there were two type of subjects, reserved subjects and transferred subjects. The Governor General and his councillors administered the reserved subjects, and the Council of Ministers were responsible for the transferred subjects. So abolition, now according to the Government of India Act of 1935, it abolished a diarchy and introduced of a provincial autonomy in the provinces, that is, abolition of diarchy and the introduction of provincial autonomy in the provinces. And then the governor was made the head of the provincial executive, but he was expected, that is, not bound, but he was expected to run the administration on the advice of the Council of Ministers. Then provincial legislatures of Bengal, Madras, Bombay, United Provinces, Bihar and Assam were made bicameral, that is, two houses. Then extension of the principle of separate electorates to Sikhs, Europeans, Indian Christians and Anglo-Indians, that is the communal award, that is separate electorates, extension of principle of separate electorates to Sikhs, Europeans, Indian Christians and Anglo-Indians. So remember, abolition of diarchy, that means there will be, now at the center there was diarchy, and in the center there was diarchy, that means the Governor General had different power and the Council of Ministers had different powers. So in the states, that is in the provinces, the diarchy was abolished and provincial autonomy was given to the provinces. And then establishment of a federal court at Delhi with a chief justice and 6 judges. So a federal court was established at Delhi with a chief justice and 6 judges. Okay. So then there were elections and Congress came into power. And what happened? So there were major strategies that evolved once a civil disobedience movement was withdrawn. So once the civil disobedience movement was withdrawn, Gandhiji withdrew this civil disobedience movement. So there was a need of a different strategy. So the details of the strategies was, so Gandhiji wanted to emphasize constructive work in the villages, especially in the revival of village crafts. Constructive work, said Gandhi, Gandhiji said that constructive work would lead to the consolidation of people's power and open the way to the mobilization of millions in the next phase of mass struggle. So Gandhiji wanted to do the constructive work so that it will empower them for the mobilization for the mass struggle. But some other leaders, they had different opinions. So the revival of the constitutional method of struggle and participation in the elections to the Central Legislative Assembly to be held in 1934. So now Gandhiji wanted to work in the masses, and he said that we will work for the mobilization of masses, we will empower them. But the other leaders, they wanted to use the constitutional method for struggle and participation in the elections to the Central Legislative Assemblies, which were going to be held in 1934. So led this time by Dr. M.A. Ansari, Asaf Ali, Satyamurthy, Bhulabhai Desai and B.C. Roy, and previous no changers like Vallabhbhai Patel, Rajendra Prasad or Rajgopalachari. So Nehru also attacked the notion of winning freedom through stages. So real power could not be won gradually, bit by bit, or by 2 annas and 4 annas. Thus, to STS, he counterposed the strategy of SV. So what was this STS? So see, there was a basic difference of working between the youngers and the youth, the young generation of the leaders and Gandhiji. Gandhiji wanted to work to launch the movement into stages, that like first he launched the non-cooperation movement, okay, non-cooperation movement. Then later on he launched the civil disobedience movement. So there were gaps in between, okay. After non-cooperation movement there was some gap, and after that this civil disobedience movement was launched. Again this movement was withdrawn, again there was some gap, and again Gandhiji was planning for something big. So this was a strategy of Gandhiji, but the young generation, it had something different. So this strategy, the young generation, this strategy was called as a struggle, a truce and struggle. That is STS strategy. That is, you struggle for some time, then you take pause, you withdraw the movement, so that masses will again regain their energy, and then again they will participate into the next movement. So this movement was called a struggle, truce, a struggle. But the young generation, which was led by all these young leaders, this did not believe in this struggle, truce, struggle strategy of Gandhiji. They wanted a struggle and victory. They said that the real power could be won only by the direct strategy, that is the direct strategy. It cannot be won by bit or 2 annas or 4 annas, but they believed into a struggle and victory, that is continuous struggle. There should be no gap in between, and there should be continuous struggle, and at the end a victory will come to us. So this was the strategy. That is why it is called as STS strategy of Gandhiji, and struggle and victory strategy of the young generation of leaders. Okay. So then what was the work under the Congress ministries? So now many of them, they participated into the election, they fought the election, and then the Congress rule was established into the provinces. So how was the work under the Congress ministries? So ease curb on civil liberties. So they eased curb on civil liberties. Then press restrictions were lifted. Then political prisoners were released, and lift ban on several organizations, etc. Okay, and Gandhi advised the congressmen to hold the offices lightly and not tightly, to be seen as crowns of thorns actually. Okay, so which had been accepted, to see if they quickened the pace towards the nationalist goal. So Gandhiji agreed to the demand of young leaders, and he said that if you want to participate into the election, you can participate, but hold these offices lightly and not tightly. And he said that the offices which you are going to enter, that is, you are going to enter into the offices like you are going to participate into the election, so you should consider these offices as crowns of thorns, okay, which had been accepted, to see if they quicken the pace towards the nationalistic goal. So in the Haripura session, President Bose, that is Subhash Chandra Bose, formed a National Planning Commission, and the Congress would give moral support to those who were agitating against the governance in the princely states. It was decided. Okay, so in 1939, after resigning from the Indian National Congress, Bose formed the Forward Bloc as new party within the Congress. So at the Haripura session, there were differences between Gandhiji and Subhash Chandra Bose. So in 1939, after resigning from the Indian National Congress, Subhash Chandra Bose formed the Forward Bloc as the new party within the Congress itself. Okay, so this is the Haripura session. So Gandhiji and Bose, there were ideological differences. So similarities were admiration for each other. That is, in 1942, Gandhiji called Bose the prince among the patriots. So this statement is very important. This statement may be asked in our examination. Who called who called Subhash Chandra Bose as the prince among the patriots, and that was Gandhiji. So Subhash Chandra Bose also referred Gandhiji as the father of our nation. Now this is very important. We call Gandhiji as father of our nation, but we don't know who called him the first time, who gave him this name. So it was Subhash Chandra Bose who gave Gandhiji the name, the title of the father of our nation, in a radio broadcast from Rangoon in 1944. Okay, so both Gandhiji and Bose were religious men and disliked communism. Both worked against untouchability and spoke for women's emancipation, but they differed widely in their ways and methods and in their political and economic ideologies. So that's all about this lesson. In our next lesson, we are going to study about the Second World War and what was the Cripps mission. Okay, so stay tuned.